Jay from Team DMA. So, good morning to everyone. So, today is Saturday. I wanted to make an important video as people are getting ready to go to their locals and some of the decks are being completed and people are debating what to play and whatnot. I just want to make a really quick recap of some pointers and then things that people are going to want to do, excuse me, so that you're ready for your local. So, like I said before, it's nothing new. The local scene is not like it was, obviously. Everybody knows that common sense, what it was like 4 years ago. The current scene of Yu Gi Oh! Is very steady, of multiple negates, multiple interruptions. So, as you see the AC 130 um, on my videos, on my channel, how I can set up like 8 to even in some cases 9 negates per turn. And going first, I can break a board that has somewhere around 9 to 10 negates or more. It doesn't matter. It's because going first and going second are different profiles. So people who win their locals are very aware of this. Like, it's just common knowledge, and it's something that you have to have in mind, that your side deck is a big part of your win, because going first, you don't want to break, right? And that's why Dark Magician players don't know how to play Dark Magician, because going first, you don't want bricks. You want draw power. So people are going to be hitting you, for example, with like Ash, which is very typical. They hit you with draw. They hit you with infinite impermanence. They hit you, did I say draw? With draw. So you're dealing even with Gamma. How I think it's the Spy Gamma, which it comes out and then it destroys the card. You have Ghost Spell. There's a lot. There's a Moon Chill. We could keep going forever. And then they have the Bestial. There's just a lot of different hand traps that are in the format. So for the general part, what you want to do that you see people generally taking the first place is people that can survive the hand traps. And that's generally what the AC 130 does, surviving the hand traps, because you see me play the rod, but it's pointless because I don't want to resolve the rod. I already have the cards in my hand that's going to let me draw 6 to 9 cards. The rod is just going to help me draw more. And just really quickly, you see me hit the rod, they negate it, right? And then I do the Magician Souls, and then I trigger, for example, the Magician Souls effect, and I know the hand trap, so I'll just send Restage, because I utilize Restage to bring the Magician Souls, the Dark Magician, a two card combo, right? Because Magician Souls, Dark Magician Special, and then Restage bring the Magician Souls, and I trigger the effect when they use the hand trap to negate to draw. It doesn't matter because the Restage activates in the graveyard and it's a search draw, so I guess the right hand as an example to put a negate, and then it eats the hand trap because it won't stop it. And then after that, I'll link them both, and then they're going to Crawley and they're going to the Spellbook Engine, so I could draw 2 more. And that doesn't even include the other cards that I might have, like Soul Servant, or if I already have Spellbook Engines that I could get started to draw another 4 or 5 cards. So when you look at it all in all, you're drawing, as you see on my profile, you can draw up to, the maximum is 15 cards in one turn. So with your 5, you went through 20 cards, 50% of your deck on your first turn, even with hand traps. The other option to do that is you can try to do a similar one, but a different route. But you have to simulate that you're getting hit with the Ash and an Imperm. If you don't simulate it, like if people who think that, oh, I don't have to, and you go to their locals, it's your fault. You're gonna disappoint yourself. You're gonna guaranteed 100% you're gonna be rebuilding your deck for like the next year, only to never win first. So what you need in the deck is cards that are set up for the future. So a perfect example is Prism Heart, and anyone who takes locals, if you break down the profile, you can clearly see that it's diverse. It has Kaiju Searching, right? They got special summons, normal summons, they got backroad destruction, and then they have some hand traps on top of everything together with draw power. So you're drawing all that, and I'm sure he carries a lot more than just that. There's a few other cards that you play. So the Dark Mission is no exception. You can't just have pure Dark Mission, you're not gonna win. Not in the nowadays Yu-Gi-Oh! So if you need to include like 3 Ash Blossom, 3 draw, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 draw, and that's going second, right? That's going second. I don't know if you want to include the Imperm, I don't know. But the way that I play it is I don't play hand traps. I play the Bestial kind of like hand traps, but then I'll play board breakers like Lightning Storm, and then three Lightning Storm, three Dark Ruler no more. So I'll activate a few cards and they'll negate them. Or I'll start from the beginning. If I draw into a Dark Ruler no more, I'll just hit it and then break the board. You see me do it even against tier 0. And that's just the way that everyone else does it too. But sometimes I'll bait some negates, and then once it's free, I'll start to draw power, and then the draw power will more likely draw me into the Dark Ruler or the Lightning Storm. In the current state, going second, you're going to want to play Feather 2 as a staple, because let's say you play Lightning Vortex and you get rid of the monsters, you can play Feather and get rid of the back row, or start with the back row, depending. Unless you have Kaijus too, you can also out it like that. Like just Kaiju, open the board, and then get rid of the back, because people have evenly matched. You need to be prepared for evenly matched as well. You have to have an Omni Negate. If you don't have it, you're going to lose. Like it's not like, oh, hopefully they don't play it, because a lot of people do it like that and then they never win. And that's the reason why, because they're afraid of the opposition. You can't be afraid. You have to, from the beginning, face it, face your fears. You're going to take evenly matched. You're going to be taking tons of hand traps. You're going to be taking monster negations, backward destructions, and that's what you need to set your deck to do to be versatile. So as some pointers to look at, the Bestial, you can include either one Dressworm, or you can include one Dressworm and one Magnema. So the Magnema will utilize the Dressworm like you used it twice. It's going to banish. It's good for removal. And then you can also link to pop, or the card can just kamikaze and pop. And it's also defense after the Eternal Soul is popped, because they remember they do that. You can trigger the effect of Eternal in the graveyard and get the route to your hand. If you don't want to play the Circle and the Eternal, you don't have to. You can just play the Circle. You can play 2 or even 3 Circles and without an Eternal Soul, so there's no drawback. So with that, what you could do with that is you can play the Selene, Monster Reborn, and Magician Soul. So the Magician Souls is the one that's utilizing for Eternal Soul. The Monster Reborn and the Selene, they're all working as the Eternal Soul, and there's no drawback. Now, what people are preferring to do is they're just removing the whole engine of Circle and Eternal, and then they're opting for Fenrir, because it is a better option no matter how you look at it, but you would have to remove the Circle and Eternal because those cards become bricks, right? So if you're trying to win your locals, definitely the current state is probably going for Fenrir. 3 Fenrir, removing the Circle. I would probably play like 1 Circle, no Eternal Soul. But if you want to gamble, then you would probably play 1 Circle, 1 Eternal. And they're going to probably be banished if you can't stop the negation. And just one last thing, also the Bestial can work to make Dragoon. Selene, so Selene is another card that matters a lot. You just put 3 monsters on the board, and then it becomes as Eternal Soul for each turn for as many spells as you have in your graveyard. We can read it here. If anybody has any questions, you just read the effect there. And we're going to be moving on to the next one. But it is an important card. It can help you link up into powerful boss monsters. It can bring Dragoon back, you know? So it's pretty good. Like your opponent can try to Monster Reborn it, and you can chain to Selene, because it does have an effect during your opponent's turn. Another card that's fairly good, helps you unbrick, is a Nightmare Phoenix. So with any 2 monsters with different names, it becomes it, and then you can pop a spell or trap in the field of your opponent, and it helps you unbreak, because you want to send the Dark Mission or the Dark Mission Girl to the graveyard, and that'll make the souls live, and a lot of your deck becomes live. And then also you might want to out something that's problematic, like a Floodgate or a field spell or just anything. There's a lot of broken spell and trap cards, and you might want to break out of it, or like I said, unbreak, so you can get your deck going. And that's the main thing about Dark Mission. You can't break. If you break, you have to save the hand and then replace the cards to unbreak it. Don't try to play through a break hand. Like I said, stop it and then look at the layout of your hand, look at the bricks, and then take those cards out right there and replace them with better cards that will help it unbreak. And then once it is, play that hand, play the hand that's a better hand, and then you keep doing it until you notice you don't draw any brick cards anymore. You don't want to play cards that have too much requirements because those are called brick cards. You want to play cards that are live, even if you top deck them, they're live. That's what makes you win duels. That's the secret to first place. A lot of people don't know that. Have you ever seen me like almost all my duels? I'm gonna lose, and then I just start a lot of draw power. Guess why? Because my deck's been tested for top decking. Like I shuffle it, all the 40 cards, and then I top deck from the top, one card at a time, and I'll put a board like 2 or 3 negates or something like that, or 3,000, 4,000 hitter, and I'll pull a card and see what I could do with it. And the consistency of top decking is pretty powerful. So guess what? That automatically lets me know that I'm going to be pulling the win, and that's how I built AC 130. So Sky Striker Azalea. So this one is a broken card that I've been talking about for a while, but it's a must-have. Right now it's very expensive, but I mean, if someone can either let you borrow it or you bought one when they were like $12, they were like $10. I missed my chance to buy it. I didn't think much of it until I read the effect carefully. It's super broken. So depending on the number of spells, if you have 3 or more, the card comes out, it can pop a card, and then you can remove one of those spells, and when you attack a monster, it'll send it to the graveyard by effect. So it can go through pretty much anything. It's so broken. And the cool thing is it works during your opponent's turn. They won't be able to out it. I had a Scareclaw attack it from a Manadium deck, and it was so hilarious because he attacked it and it won't go into defense, and then it just triggered the effect, boom, sent it to the graveyard. It was hilarious. The other combo with this card is if you can bring multiple cards, you can go into the Nightmare or go into the Celine, or go into the Celine first and then the Nightmare, and then it can chain off. You can go into the Dressworm all in the same turn, and this Sky Striker Ace, and you can essentially pop like 4 cards if you can chain to go into a Dragoon. And people are like, that just sounds dumb, that sounds unreal. No, actually, you see me do it all the time on my AC 130. It's just versatility of use of cards. They don't have a lot of requirements. They're just, this one says 2 darks or 2 lights, so the deck's mainly all darks, right? Even your Esther deck is darks. So the whole thing is just doing a bunch of destruction on the board, like being able to wipe the board, and at the same time establishing negations and interruptions against your opponent. Skill Drain is a powerful card if you know how to use it. So the way Skill Drain works, if you play 1, you might as well not playing it at all. You have to play 3. So because you play 3, you're going to be drawing it a lot, and you have to remember the field's going to be shut off. So you're going to want to be prepared for that. So obviously in that case, you would need the Circle in Eternal to combo it. But then knowing that in advance, their opponent is going to be destroying all your spell and traps. So for that, you can protect your cards with what's it called, Dark Bribe, or you can use Village of the Spellcasters or the Magician's Right Hand. There's Solemn Judgments. There's a few other cards you could use to negate spell trap destruction, or even in some cases monster effects. And then sometimes, because you have 3, you might have 2. So sometimes what I do is I'll set 2 down, and then like they'll use like Pinkertops, they'll pop it, and then I just trigger the second one, and they don't have an out to it. The same thing for the Dark World deck. I set up like 3-4 traps, they pop 2, and then the other ones are the same ones. I just locked and they lose. Village of the Spellcasters, shutting down the whole spells. With the Village of the Spellcasters, broken card you could have is the Dark Magicians. Does matter at that time, especially if you have the right Magician's Right Hand, because the first spell will be negated, and then the Magician's Fusion will trigger to draw. And then on top of that, the Village is still active, and you have a Circle in Eternal, you can banish their Spellcaster, so they are locked even with all the requirements to win. And if you look at it, it's an easy way to make it. So the Right Hand is nothing, you just play it. And then the Magicians is so easy, right? Either 1 Dark Magician or 1 Dark Magician Girl and any other Spellcaster, so you should be able to make it easily. And then Village is so easy to draw, right? You can include 2 or 3 with Terraforming and search it out. And it is a powerful combo. You do get auto wins against certain decks, not all, but you do get certain wins against all. Village of the Spellcasters cannot be going second card because your opponent has 10 negates, and you're gonna play Village of the Spellcasters. Like, how does it help you? So at that point, you would have to replace the Village probably for the 3 Dark Ruler No More and some Lightning Vortex, right? You want Brawl Breakers And emphasis on going first is like the day, going second is the night. They're two different worlds. They look different. One of them is you going through some hand traps and a Biru. Also keeping your monsters to special summon under 4 is a big secret to me winning. I always do under 4. The other combos are set up so the Nibiru and all that, they keep it in their hand. They become I make them bricks for them, and because I escape all the hand traps and the Nibirus in the end, they have bricks, and my board already has like 5-6 negates, so that's why I win the duels. This is simple mathematics. Another card that you can play with the Bestial and also the Magician Souls is Eradicator Epidemic Virus. You can destroy all their spells or all their traps that they're going to be drawing for 3 turns. So the Bestial can trigger it, so can the Dark Magician. So Dark Magician and Bestial become broken. Like imagine first turn, Dark Magician set, and then they do draw phase, and then you can chain to the draw phase before they even do anything, right? You trigger it, Eradicate Epidemic Virus, send the Dark Magician to the graveyard, or the Dressworm, and then you just trigger spells. They're gonna be gone. I don't know any deck that will survive it. I got that done to me with Labyrinth so many times, and I always win. They're on my channel. You can see me. No more spells, and I still win the duel because of the versatility of my deck. But definitely Village is a good card, but if you can protect it, perhaps like a Circle in Eternal in that case would be ideal. It would be a good thing. If you don't want to do that, the other option would be to have Fenrir to replace the Eternal Circle, because it'll banish and then the monster gets special summon and they can chain to draw another one, right? So Fenrir is a better option in that case. And then excuse me, the Magician Souls, for the Magician Souls has a lot of power, and you have to utilize it correctly. So the correct way to utilize it is, you activate the effect and you dump either Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl to the graveyard, and you have to select either to special summon or whatnot. In this case, Magician Souls, one of his best moves is to link it into any link monster that will help you create something like Anima, the relinquished Anima. And basically what you're doing, dumping the Dark Magician, making your deck live, and then you can special summon it, draw cards, and then Anima, and then you have to, and if you have an Eternal Circle, you can special the Dark Magician and then banish, and then from there you can link to like a Zelia Pop. So if you notice what I said, there's way too many interactions going on. That doesn't even include your hand and the field. You're dumping, special, absorbing, drawing, banishing, popping. If you write it down, you're doing like 5 or 6 different things, and that doesn't include the rest of your cards. So that's the whole point, to have multiple variety of interactions. And one of the big secrets in Dark Magician is draw power. If you don't have draw power in the Dark Magician, you will never win. You'll be like everybody else, because having too much hand traps kills your draw power, because hand traps don't let you draw. Hand traps just make you discard, right? So that's why Chimera is so powerful against most of the decks, because they use 2 hand traps. They started with 5. They use 2 hand traps. They have 3, and then Chimera rips a card, so they have 2 cards left. So when they draw, they have 3, and you have about 3-4 interruptions. Guess what? The mathematics shows that he's fried. So those are just some examples. Protect your back row. If you're gonna go, I wouldn't say back row heavy, but if you're gonna have some powerful back row cards like Skill Drain or Floodgates, then you're gonna want to have at least 3 spells or traps to protect them. That doesn't even include the extra deck or your monsters that are negations. You want to have the negations on top of that, and that's how I win my duels, because in my duels I can establish somewhere around 8 to 9 negates from my first turn. In an average, normally, like, the deck is establishing anywhere for 3 to 5 negates per turn, and you see no deck survive it. They can't, because they draw 6 and you negate 6, like common sense. And then a lot of the times they won't be able to use their board breaker, like Dark Ruler, Super Poly. They won't be able to use Lightning Storm because of the negations of the spells, remember? And then the right hand will burn Poly anyways. It doesn't matter. It'll burn Dark Ruler no more too. And that's what you see me do when I go against tier 0, I play a different style. So very quickly before I end the video, what I do is I set up the board and I bait the opponent to think that that's my board. So what he does is he plays Dark Ruler. So then when he summons or plays a field spell, I chain Eternal, banish, and then chain to Secrets of Dark Magic, and then Dragoon comes out. And when Dragoon comes out, he's not under the Dark Ruler. You have the Omni Negate on it. Plus the back row, Dark Ruler no more doesn't stop the back row. Like if you have Skill Drains or Floodgates, and that's the big secret to the AC 130, that I look into the future cards that won't affect my back row. So when they try to play like a Lightning Storm or whatever, they have to first go through like 3 negates of that. Or the Dark Ruler, because they have to go through the village, they have to go through the right hand, they have to go either through Naruto or Dragoon or all at the same time. And there's no way they can do it, they just can't do it. And then you activate that there can only be one, they can't floodgate, it's a duel, it's done. They're gone. They're gone. It's very ugly, very nasty, very powerful. So the video's gone for long enough, I'm gonna end it right now, but just keep that in mind. Test it, and then don't make a deck that you like. Make a deck that wins. That's the real answer to first place. It's a sad reality, because people want to play the deck they like. You can, but it can't have the cards you like either. It can't be like that, because most of the cards you like are more likely trash. That's why you like them. They have some sort of sentimental value to you, but that's not the correct way. It's like, yeah, it could be like anything, but what you want to do is play cards that win. Get away from cards you like and play cards that win, that actually win. So hopefully that was helpful to you. Really quickly before I end the video, the AC 130s consist of Floodgates, and then together with the Skill Drain, there can only be one. Sometimes I do evenly or Gozen. And then on top of that, it'll have about 2 to 3 negations of either monsters, destruction, or spell trap. So I can negate it with the Naruto, with the Dragoon. I can negate it with the Dark Bribe. Sometimes I carry, when people are really heavy on my back row, I carry Imperial Custom too. It won't even stop. They can't even pop any of my traps anymore. And the traps are the ones that are killing them, because they're negating everything, and there can only be one of a card. So they try to pop it, you just Imperial Custom, and it won't work. They can't do it anymore. They want to trigger the Imperial, but then they have to do a different play for that. And then by the time they pop it, they're already out of it, out of the options to pop the back row, and the back row is still active. And that's just a combo. The other way, like I said, with the village and the right hand, or having an Omni Negate, you want at least 2 Omni Negates to protect the back row and have it locked. And you want to have the Bestial ready. You don't want to play the Bestial on top of everything. The Bestial has to be in the back, waiting for when things go wrong. Because a lot of people, what they do, and like I said, I'm past the time, I need to end it right now, but I want to clarify that for people who are going to the locals. The majority of people who never win, they play their whole hand and they don't win the duel. And that's what I teach people. That's the wrong way. What you're supposed to be doing is only playing enough to negate, and then having enough cards to do what is called a comeback. In case they break your board, you have a comeback. That's how you win. So you're winning to win the next duel, the future turn. You're not playing to win that turn. If you're playing to win that turn, you need to switch to FTK, OTK. That's different. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You have to find ways to make a lot of interruptions, a lot of negations, and easy. Going second, like I said, hand traps are fine. Going first, no. Look into Dark Ruler, Super Poly, Lightning Storm. Those cards are excellent cards for board breaker, kaijus. And I'm gonna end the video with that. Keep all that in mind. No one wins their locals the first time or the second, which is a progress, and you're going to be seeing the cards that are changing. You can have a pen and a paper on the side, and when you see certain cards or certain plays that you're not outing, you have to document the card you have issues and then adopt cards to get rid of those. A good example of playing something excellent, like you have to switch also to better boss masters. Scareclaw is a broken card. It could get through so much stuff, and that's one of my most powerful combos. That's when my combos are somewhere around 9 to 10 negates interruptions because I have the Dragoon, Naruto, Dragon Knight, and they're all live. Plus, in the front, I have Scareclaw, and in the back row, I have Floodgates with Eternal and Circle, and I have Bestial in my hand. Or you can have hand traps. So you have Village the right hand. So your opponent's playing two spells that are burned. They play like evenly matched. You negate it. You can negate something else, and then you can banish, and then nothing can attack. Nothing can destroy them because of the what's it called? Scareclaw, and then you're chaining to Eternal Circle, and then plus the other floodgates, it gets ugly. And then they say something to the graveyard, you can just get rid of it with the hand traps. If you're playing against certain decks, you might want to put Shifter or there's some specific cards. Nibiru, you can also play Nibiru. Just look at what your locals does, and that's it. I've gone way too longer than I thought, than I expected. Hopefully that was helpful to you. This is for the people going to locals. Quick review. God bless. Take care. Dark Magic Attack.